Here we go. It is Thursday the 17th and I'm on a road trip. There's a serious bus in the background. Quite often I'm the man at the back of that bus doing my island hopping. But on this trip I'm on my Yamaha N-Max. So the plan of action is it's quarter to 7 now. I'm going to head down towards Tripad and possibly stay in what's it called on the name of the hotel has gone out of my head, down in Tripad, and then from there I'll go over the mountains along the coastal road down to Dumaguete. I'll meet up with Rhett in Dumaguete and maybe get a meeting in there, and then head on up to Malbo for a night, and then from Malbo back over the mountains. So hopefully I don't get any chickens caught up in my spokes, get hit by a bus, fall off my chair. The Philippines, home to 7,641 islands. To put it in perspective, from the top of the Philippines to the bottom is a total distance the same as what it would be if you were traveling from Edinburgh to Barcelona or Philadelphia to Miami, depending on whether you are from Ireland, England or Scotland, or whether you're American. That'll give you a rough idea. The islands themselves are in shallow waters, so if you picture like an upside down bowl, the islands are on the top part, and then around the circumference of the islands themselves there's these really deep trenches. So it makes for great circumnavigation for island hoppers. And so it was that the Spanish arrived there at the start of the 16th century. There's not much that can be garnished from before the arrivals of the Spanish, as there was no reading and writing. When the Spanish arrived, they initially made their way to Cebu. A man by the name of Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines with one boat and having suffered a severe mutiny. It was a much weakened force of sailors that arrived in Lapu-Lapu only to find hostility on the part of the Lapu-Lapu people. Chief Lapu-Lapu, after receiving the Spaniards well in the first round, later became angry and put a gang together. What resulted was the Battle of Mactan. In the Battle of Mactan, both Ferdinand Magellan, who was at the time accompanied by a slave who could actually speak, a slave by the name of Enrique, who could speak Tagalog, had begged for mercy. Anyway, Magellan was executed, was killed in battle actually. And by the hair of his chinny chin chin, a man by the name of Juan Sebastian Escalo, Juan Sebastian Elcano. He left with the leftovers of the Spanish expedition and successfully returned to Spain 3 years after their departure. He stopped off in Borneo and then later in the Spice Islands. He filled up his one remaining ship with enough spices to profit from the entire expedition. So Magellan's arrival in the Philippines was deemed a success. Oi, oi, oi. So I'm just coming into Hinnigaran, which is a town. Look at me, like a hedgehog. Hinnigaran is 2 hours on the road. The sun is coming up, so we're just on the tail end of a storm actually. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was about a 2 or 3, so nothing serious. I stopped because I noticed this river. I passed by it quite a number of times. Look at those lads down there, climbing up out of their boat. And this boat here to the right, the Filipino equivalent to a proper fishing vessel. It looks like just a few planks of wood thrown together with some nails. But you can see the little place up the top there where they sleep, and down on the right they got their clotheslines and everything. Ah yeah, that's Filipino life. So anyway, the plan is... What is the plan? There's a coffee shop here in Hinnigaran, the Lida as it's called. It's owned by Kay's family, so I might stop in there. Although I did just have some eggs and a meatball. After that, what's the next town? There's about another 2 towns after that, and then there's a right turn that if I want to, I can head on to Sipale, or otherwise the town after that, take a left turn and head to Dumaguete. So I'll make my mind up when I get there. Lovely jubbly. It was another 44 years before Spain could take a proper stab at the Philippines. The problem was that they were coming about it arseways. The Spanish would head down via Mexican and Peru and curtail it around the Cape of Good Hope and back up through the Pacific in towards eventually arriving in Leyte. It added 3 times more of a journey on it compared to the Dutch and the English. Therefore made it quite impractical in terms of trade, as they couldn't compete considering the cost of this longer trade route. 44 years after Magellan held the first Christian Mass in Cebu, a man by the name of Legazpi rocked up to Manila and was met by the Sultan of Borneo, who had settled there up until that point. A short conflict ensued and Legazpi was victorious. Shortly after the battle between Legazpi and the Sultan of Borneo, however, a Chinese pirate by the name of Limahong approached Legazpi and challenged his position within Manila with a force of 7,000 men. Even though they were outnumbered, Legazpi won this war against Limahong, and Limahong returned to China to the Ming dynasty, only to be executed by the emperor. Spain was far too preoccupied with the Latin Americas at the time to put any real consideration into the economic benefits of holding or of creating a Spanish colony in the Pacific. They saw the Philippines as a territorial claim at the time, and also a land where they could easily spread the one true faith, Christianity. In order to impose Spanish rule, therefore, they established the same system that they had set up in the Latin Americas, which were known as the encampanitos. An encampanito, that word might be tongue twisted, essentially was a territory, a small enough territory which could be governed on the one hand by a military league and on the other by the friars. The military civilian sphere of rule was established with Spanish mercenaries who had arrived on previous expeditions. They ruled with an iron fist and extracted overbearing taxes. On the other hand, the friars who were here at the time, who consisted of the Augustines, the Dominicans, and the Franciscans, set about establishing cathedrals and churches built by a native slave workforce. Word got back to the Spanish rulers that these systems were cruel, diabolical, and untenable, that it was only a matter of time before revolt would occur. However, the Spanish powers at the time saw it as an issue for the Catholic Church to resolve. Essentially, the Philippines remained a barbaric Spanish colony on the outskirts of the South Asian continent until a sufficiently capable uprising could occur. So it is 10 to 5 on the same date, December the 17th. Took me 7 hours coming down from Bacolod over the mountains. I didn't hit any chickens, nor did I knock down any cats or dogs, or even any people, not that I can remember anyway. I stopped off a few times for coffee. Was listening to some really good podcasts, Addicted to Recovery, and there was a story there. They were interviewing a guy by the name of Jack, who was addicted to ketamine, so much so that his bladder stopped working and he had to wear nappies as an adult. I wonder, is there anybody else who might be listening to this who has a problem with ketamine, who might end up or is running the risk of having to wear nappies as an adult? Maybe someone whose name begins with N and is related. Anyhow, I'm in the marketplace now, strolling about. I'm gonna grab, I need to get a set of headphones because my AirPods, which I presume are just fake, they snapped in half and they've gone to AirPod heaven. with all the other shitty iPhone devices that break down inevitably. This is like the food stall alongside the plenty of people waving. Wow, look at that. Hello, hello, hello. Awesome, someone come back. So that's the food stall there. I'm on a carnivore diet at the moment. Why am I on a carnivore diet? Because Joe Rogan has been recommending it. And because I need to get extra protein. So on the carnivore diet I can only eat rice and eggs, which is what I've been doing. It's been quite easy so far. Everywhere you go there's generally just a blast of fried eggs, and there's some kind of meat option. Here we go, there's a Wi-Fi shop. Alright, I'm gonna go over there and see what kind of Wi-Fi they have, and then I'll walk around and make a little film of the marketplace.